at the Chesaning High School in Fortwood, and I'm interviewing Mrs. Tithof at the Chesaning High School on May 17th. How were weddings when you were growing up?
They weren't near as large as they are today. That was one thing. And they didn't have nearly attendance at a wedding. Usually 2, maybe up to 3. But that was about it. Unless sometimes there was special in their own family. They didn't go outside the family. Excuse me. Now that I don't think they went outside of the family as much for their attendance. They always kept their attendance inside the family more. They never asked a married couple to be in a wedding that I know of. Because I don't know really the reason. But they said it was always too expensive for a married couple to have to spend that much money to be into a wedding. So they usually always had unmarried people in their wedding. And a good friend. And the Catholic wedding was always in the morning on account of fasting. So they would have a mass and receive communion at the mass. So they couldn't eat after midnight. So that was too long to fast.
That's neat.
So the weddings were always like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Never heard of that.
And most of them were always married in white. And their attendants. When I got married, they just started having the attendants wear one color. Before, they would wear the different shades in a wedding party. So,
Okay, so
and
started bridal tables.
oh yes, in the home they always had usually the dining room table in the home was the bridal table all the time, and it was set up and decorated. And the neighbors would come in and do the cooking for the wedding. And at least in our line of friends. And then the day after the wedding, the cooks got to sit down first. They'd come back the next day, and they would get to sit down first. The dresses were long. Usually, most of them were more long. But another thing that was just coming into style when I got married was a short veil. And before that, the veils were always, all the weddings that I ever see or were to were all long. Because my husband wanted to see mine before we got married. He said, I don't know if I'll like it. I said, too bad, you'll just have to like it because that's what's coming in style and I'm going to have a short veil. So I had a short veil for my wedding. And it had a gold edge on it. And the dresses weren't, real full like they are today.
Yeah.
They were more form-fitting. The wedding dresses were more form-fitting. We always had, in our family, well, it was because on account of our faith, we would have a breakfast for the immediate family. And then we would have a dinner about 1 o'clock for all the guests that you invited.
That would be
And then in the evening, there was a dance, and that was at the hall. But there were no drinks or anything served at the dance. It was just a dance. And the public was invited to that. Anyone that knew the bride or the groom would come to that wedding dance. It would always be usually open to the public.
Did you guys send invitations out, or was it like a mail?
We send invitations to the ones that we couldn't go to. My husband and I drove to all our aunts and uncles and invited them personally to the wedding.
Oh, that's
and the neighbors. And all the neighbors, we went personally invited them to the wedding. And the ones that were far away, we sent invitations to. And they always had a shower ahead of time for the bride. But I don't remember the stag parties for the men. A lot of the showers were for the men and the women. Both would be invited to the shower before the wedding.
What kind of gifts did they give at the showers? Can you remember?
Nothing like today.
Nothing like today.
My sister got married about 5 years before me. And it was really depression then. And I don't think she got a gift that was more than $3. But she got like a sheet, towels, washcloths, coffee pot, and things like that. And then it went a little bit higher, so I think maybe, and then when we got married, they were probably around $5. I don't think any more would be. And if you got, well, things weren't as expensive. You could get a real nice sheet and pillowcases for $5.
And nowadays it costs $14, $15.
More than that.
Quite a difference.
Because just last summer we got sheets and pillowcases for a wedding, and it was $30-some for the 2 sheets and pillowcases. $30-some.
Oh, mine was on sale.
And a lot of your friends that you knew you couldn't invite to the wedding, but they were invited to the shower. And you'd have a real good lunch for the shower too. And then, but like today, if you're invited to a shower, you are automatically invited to the wedding.
Yeah.
But then you invited a lot of your friends that you would like to come, but you couldn't invite them to the wedding because there just wasn't room. Because they never had them at halls. They always have them at homes.
So were you married at home? Or?
No, I was married in church. And I had 2 attendants for mine. I had one sister that wasn't married. I had 2 sisters, but one was married. And when she got married, she had both her sisters. But when I got married, I just had the one, and then I had a real close friend of mine. And we had a flower girl for our wedding. That was my husband's sister. And she wore a short dress with little button shoes.
That's right. She said like flowers or lettuce?
No, she didn't.
No?
I didn't. I hadn't seen that before, but I did afterwards. I went to Detroit to Hudson's to get my dress. And
I didn't even know they had Hudson's back then.
they had a Hudson's back then. And it cost me $24.95.
Oh my gosh. Couldn't even imagine them being there.
I know.
A price tag.
Because I showed Julie Johnson, you're not going to play this tape just the way it's coming, are you?
Well, I'm just going to be just right down my way.
Oh, I showed her our wedding picture, but I told her she had styles. I told her, and I showed her, she couldn't believe it. That would, the dress would only cost that much. And the witness dresses were $3.99.
$3.99.
And I
That was for what?
For a witness dress.
A witness dress? What do you mean by a witness?
You know, the maid of honor.
Oh, the maid of honor.
And your witness, the rest of the witnesses.
Never
But
heard.
mine were both wore the very same kind of dress. But a lot of them, your maid of honor was always dressed differently. I don't know. I just decided I was going to have mine different. So I said, I'm not going to have my maid of honor wear a different color dress. She's going to wear the same colors as my bridesmaids.
I've seen them holidays do that too.
Mhm.
Where they've had diner tests like that. Not as often as they used to.
And the blood test just came in about 2 years before I got married. Up until then, you didn't have to have no blood test before you got married.
You're lucky. You were lucky. Sort of.
Because you had to have that done before you couldn't get your marriage license. Like today, you can't get your marriage license until the results of your blood test come back.
So, what did they do? When you guys know that you were getting married, they just gave you one?
No, you had to yourself make your appointment with the doctor to get your blood tested. There was no certain place you went. Mine spoiled before it got to Lansing. I had to send it to Lansing. So then I had to go to Hurley Hospital and have it done again because I worked in Flint before I was married.
I wouldn't have wanted to do that.
And for the wedding, shoes were a lot like they are today. And
then heels. What were the honeymoons like? Or were there any?
A lot of them. We went to Mackinac Island for our honeymoon.
So my mom and dad.
Did they?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we went to Mackinac Island. We stayed in Mackinac City all night. And then the next morning we went across on the ferry to Mackinac Island. And we were gone 3 days. 4 days. 4 days. And they didn't have motels like they have now. Your mother and dad probably told you that. They just had the little cottages. And our 4 days cost us $37. We saved our dimes before our wedding when we got engaged. And that's what we went on our wedding trip with, was the dimes we'd saved. And that paid everything we ate, all our meals. And stayed to the cottages. And
Did that all at $37?
at $37.
Oh my gosh. How long ago was that?
It'll be 50 years in August. We'll be married 50 years in August.
That's been a while. So did you get any gifts at the wedding itself, or were they all given at the shower?
No, the shower gifts, and then at the wedding, when they came to the home, most of them brought their gifts when they came to the home. But I know when I was in Flint, I worked in Flint, and their daughter, people I worked for, their daughter got married when I was there, and they were wealthy people, and she had an elaborate wedding. Because she paid for all the dresses in her wedding party. Her mother and dad paid for all the dresses in their wedding party. And their gifts was all sent to the house before the wedding. But around here, everybody just brought their gifts to the wedding. But that was their tradition, I guess, in their style. And she had a big wedding. And she had hers at a hall with the dinner. But all the friends that I had around Chesaning and everyone that I knew, most all of them just had their weddings at their homes at that time.
That seems like it would be nice at your home.
You'd get married in church and then you'd come back to your home. And some that didn't belong to no church would get married at home or sometimes even in a friend's home. But the most of them went to church to get married, like it is today. Some of them still get married at home.
Was it as hard to get married back then, like in a church? Because now you gotta take like classes and.
No, if you belonged to the parish, you just had to take 2 classes. That was all you had to take before you got married. Now it's 6 months.
Yeah.
And maybe it's all faith. I don't know, but it's the Catholic faith. I don't know what's the matter with me.
It's catching a cold.
Oh. Maybe I'm nervous.
What was the bride's responsibilities? Like, what did they pay for that family and the bride?
I paid for all the flowers except my bouquet. The groom paid for my bouquet. But else I paid for the rest of the flowers.
I didn't know that.
Didn't you?
No, I thought the bride paid for all the flowers.
No, the groom paid for mine. And most of them was that way. The groom paid for the bride's bouquet. And the bride's family always put the dinner on. And some people worked together and put it on. But it was a lot like it is today. You know, usually the bride gets more of the responsibility than the groom. And the groom paid for the drinks we had at the home. You know, like they have at a wedding now. I still think the groom pays a lot, maybe pays for the drink. I don't know, really.
Yeah. I think they pay. There's not a lot compared to what the bride pays for.
And the groom pays for the marriage license.
Oh, didn't know that. Didn't know that.
And there was just started, I don't know if there was anyone before I got married. Maybe there might have been, that having a double ring ceremony, that the bride gave the groom a ring. But there wasn't any in my family that did.
So what you're saying is the groom is the only one
That gave a ring.
a ring?
He gave a ring to the bride. But the bride didn't give a ring back.
Ooh, that's different. Real different.
But then some of them afterwards, when it came in style, why a lot of them bought their husbands a ring. And in church, always the bride and her attendants sat on one side of the aisle, and the groom and his attendants sat on the other side of the aisle. Today, the bride and groom always sit together on chairs up close to the altar or wherever they're getting married. They sit together. But it wasn't like that when we got married.
They didn't have them like coming up and then they'd come out like that on the sides of the church. Have you seen them now?
Yes, they would come up down the middle aisle.
But it would be everybody.
And then when you got up to the front of the church, before in the Catholic faith, they have part of the Mass first, and then you go up to get married. And when you would come in, all the girls and the bride would go to one side of the aisle, and the groom and his attendants would go to the other side of the aisle. And the bride and groom walked up the aisle together.
Oh, that would be a lot easier.
Your attendants came first, and then your maid of honor, and then your flower girl, and then the bride and groom walked together. And the maid of honor it was her job then to take the flowers and keep the veil straight up at the altar when you was saying your vows. And that she'd always take your flowers for you and do that.
Did you do anything like throw the bouquet like they do now? They throw a bouquet when they catch it? No?
They throw rice at you though when you come out of church. But at the wedding dance, we didn't throw them. I don't know of anyone that did then. It was later when I went to weddings that they started that.
Do you know why they throw the rice?
The rice is supposed to be good luck.
Okay, I just wondered why they threw it, didn't I?
But they threw rice at us.
What kind of music did you listen to, like at your reception? At receptions and stuff?
I've always listened to foxtrot. Was the music that was played. You could dance.
Yeah.
And once in a great while, we'd have a square dance at a wedding. But if they, if they had a good caller or somebody that they could get, well, they'd have square dances. But most of the dances were foxtrot and waltzes that they played at the time when I got married.
They had like the first dance for the bride and groom.
Always the first dance for the bride and groom, and then for the attendants. That they would dance just a little bit, and then the other ones would come onto the floor like they do now.
Did you have like ring bearers? Because I know they got flower girls, but did you have ring bearers? Like the little boys?
Probably some did, but there was no one in our family. And I don't know if there was anybody, I'm trying to think. I don't know, at my time, I don't know of anyone that had a ring bearer.
They just started it after they got the flower girls. Being that everybody has a girl and a guy. Just did that.
And I think maybe that tradition was individual to each family too. If they happen to have somebody that was, old enough for a ring bearer. Because I know our oldest son was in a wedding, and that probably was after we got married. 7 years. And there was a flower girl ring bearer, so they were doing it then.
And some people might not have little girls, so just do it.
And there were some people that would have their father give away the bride. But my dad wouldn't do it.
He didn't want to give you away?
No. He said, I didn't have you to give you away. He said, so I'm not going to give you away. And he wouldn't. There was 3 of us girls, and he wouldn't give one of us away. He said, no.
And that makes you think about it.
Don't it? Don't.
So, the dinner, did you have your dinner right at the reception or like right after the wedding?
No. Like I said, we'd had a breakfast. Being you got married at 9 in the morning, you couldn't eat before.
Yeah.
So we had a breakfast right after the reception. And then we went and had our pictures taken. They didn't come, photographers never came to the hall or to your home. You had to go to a studio and have your wedding picture taken if you wanted to take it.
Probably quite expensive too.
And I know we went right here in Chesapeake, we had ours taken. Mr. Hill took ours. But until a little while before that, most of them went to Owasso after. They'd go to Owasso after the breakfast and have their wedding pictures taken, and then they were back for the reception for the dinner that would be at their home. And then the people would just stay all afternoon, and the ones that wanted to go to the dance in the evening, like 7 o'clock, they'd go to the dance.
So when you announced the wedding, like who did you tell first? Was there like somebody you told first? Or did you just start out with an announcement in the paper?
No, we didn't even put an announcement in ahead of time.
No?
We had, after we were married, we had a piece of the paper. So we just, our friends all knew, you just tell them by mouth that couldn't wait to show your ring when you got your ring.
So did you get your ring before you were married?
I got my ring at my diamond at Christmas time. And then we were married the following August.
So there isn't Was there something like an engagement ring, or was the ring itself?
That was the engagement ring. That was the engagement ring. The original diamond, and I had it wore out. I had to have it reset. But that's my original diamond.
So when you're married, he put that same ring on you?
Yes. Well, he put a wedding band on. First, I had to take my diamond off when we got married. And then he put a wedding band
But
on.
then he just bought a band to go with it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. They weren't near as expensive as they are today.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. So, the groom actually picks up the ring, then you don't go together to pick it all again?
No, we went together.
Or you go together?
We did. We went together. Some don't, some did. I think it's a lot like it is yet today. Some men still like to surprise their bride-to-be with a diamond that they like to pick out. And other times they want their bride-to-be to go with them. So I think it was the same then. Sometimes they went with them and some would pick it out by themselves.
Some of them probably know their woman. Probably.
Now they have caterers, and you go out. But then they didn't have caterers like they do today. And so that's why the neighbors would usually cook the meal.
That's weird, because I talked to somebody and they said the neighbors weren't invited at their time when they were married.
Weren't they?
No, they didn't even invite them. They said that they chugged candy and cookies and cigars and stuff that they liked and took them right to their house.
Oh.
And I never heard of that done either.
I didn't either. I know the
But
groom.
that was before the time. The lady that I talked to.
The groom always passed out cigars at a wedding.
Always passed out cigars.
Uh-huh. And the tradition in Ohio, when I got married, out there, the minute the bride and groom got done eating, they would get up, and he had a box of cigars, and she had a tray with gum on. And they went down every row of tables and passed the gum and the cigars to all the people.
Is that kind of like a thank you?
Uh-huh.
That would have been nice. Did they still, like, cut the cake?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, they always cut the cake. Usually the cake was cut with the dinner.
Did they, like, feed it to each other like they do now? No. That's different.
Oh, that's different.
A lot of things they do different now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know it. And just like with the photographer coming to the hall,
Yeah.
where you just never got a picture of them dancing at the hall. Maybe the real wealthy did, you know. I'm sure they did.
So, I've seen some of the cakes now, they got, like, tears on them, water and stuff. What was your cake? What was it like? Was
Just
it
a three
the
tier. That's it. And it wasn't separated like they are now to make them real
Yeah.
high. The bottom one was big, and then they had the things inside, you know, so it wouldn't sink down by putting it. Then another big layer was put on, and then a smaller one. And then my piece I had on the top of the cake, a little decoration of the bride and groom on top.
My mom makes some and she just lets them cool. And then you can set them right on top of each other.
Oh.
And she does that too.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of work.
I know it.
A lot of work. So, you didn't have like a particular color to your wedding. It was mostly white.
My witness dresses were both yellow. They were both yellow dresses. So all the decorations were yellow and white in the house. They had, we had the bells above the dining room table, and then we had streamers in our dining room. But you didn't decorate the hall. People didn't decorate the hall then, even if they would go out to decorate the hall like they do today. They have it decorated for the wedding. And they always tied tin cans or something behind the bride and groom's car, made a sign, put on "Just Married."
Now, when did the bride and groom open gifts? Did they open them right there while everybody was there?
They always opened their gifts right at the house when the people were there. As they came, they would open them. And if some came like during dinner while they were eating, why, as soon as they were finished, why then they'd go in and open the gifts.
Because now they
They take them all home.
Yeah.
No, they were all open. And when they first started renting halls, they used to open all their gifts at the hall. And they would line the chairs all up in front of the table so you could watch the bride and groom open all their presents at the hall. So everyone could see them. But different times something got broke. Because, when you take something out, sometimes you can't pack it back in like it was. And I think that's what stopped them from, so they don't open their gifts at the hall anymore. Not today, I don't think any of them. But I know that a lot of times you like to see what gifts you have.
Did they bang on the tables to get the bride and groom to kiss? Like they do
yes,
now?
they did that.
I wondered if they still did that. I don't know, just come to mind. I didn't even have that written down or anything.
A lot of times, like, they played jokes on you. Like, when my brother got married, like, some of the friends had a high chair, and then when they were eating their dinner, they brought this high chair and stuck it between them, then they sang that song, "Between your chair and my chair, someday there'll be a high chair."
Yeah, but that was cute.
Their faces would get so red.
That was at your brother's wedding? But that was cute. Imagine him sitting there.
Have you ever been to a wedding where when they don't, yes, they do. I don't know if they kneel down anytime anymore.
No, I don't see them kneel down.
But when they knelt down, they would sneak the groom's shoes and put on H-E on one, the sole, and L-P on the other.
What's H-E stand for?
H-E, help.
Oh.
When he'd be kneeling down here, all the people that were in the wedding could read this on the bottom of his shoe, and it would say help. Those were some of the tricks they pull on them.
That would have been cute. Yeah. That would have been